In today's wood story, I'm gonna show you how to make these beautiful rustic lanterns, and I'm gonna show you 2 different ways that you can add lights. It's a great project for using up your scrap wood, so go grab your tools and let's start this wood story. I am personally going to be using a whole bunch of fence pickets that I have laying around. These are pressure treated. You can also get them as cedar, or you can use something else. And we're gonna start by making the cuts that we need for this lantern. And we're gonna need 2 bottoms, and they're gonna be 12 by 12 centimeters. And yes, I am speaking metric today because that's how I designed this file. But luckily, I wrote all the measurements right here in Imperial, so you have no excuse. So you can use either the metric or the Imperial, whatever you wanna use. But I'm gonna be talking metric today. And if you prefer to have the plans directly in your hands, then you can go and grab them from my website. So they're gonna be 12 by 12. We're gonna need 2 pieces for the very bottom and for the top. Then we're gonna need another top lid for that one, and that's gonna be measuring 10 by 10 centimeters. And then we're also going to be needing a teeny little piece at the very top. That one is going to be 4 by 3 centimeters. And then lastly, we are going to be needing some legs. And for the legs, you have a lot of flexibility when it comes to the length. You can make a taller or a shorter version. I'm going to be making a taller one, but it's really great to have a few sizes of these lanterns next to each other. The thickness of the legs needs to be about 2.5 centimeters by 2.5 centimeters. I'll be gluing pieces together later to accomplish this measurement. But first, let's get these boards as flat and straight as possible. If you don't have a jointer, then no worries at all. Just start with the flattest pieces you can find at the store. And if you do have a planer, then run the boards through that too. They won't necessarily be 100% flat after going through, as a planer actually matches the one side to the other. So it really depends on what you're feeding through it to begin with. But in my experience, it can get you a decent enough result, especially when it's for a more rustic project such as these. And if you take small passes and flip the board on each pass, you'll get a good enough result. So I'm in the middle of planing my wood, and all of a sudden I hear a bang, like almost like a pop, and my dust collection came apart. But man, it scared the horse plop out of me. It's like you're in the zone and you're always kind of worried about things, you know, flying at you and stuff, but it's the weirdest things that can happen. With the pieces as flat as possible, it's time to trim them to size. I did this over on the table saw. I started by cutting a straight edge on the one side before flipping the wood over to the opposite side. This ensures I get a straight edge on both sides of my wood with no jointer needed. I also cut 8 strips for my legs. These will be glued together to form 4 legs, as I mentioned earlier. I cut my lid and bottom pieces to final length over on my miter saw. I then took the 8 strips of wood for the legs and glued them into 4 legs. I used the same clamps. I just ensured that I only glued 1 pair together and not all the pieces. So it's officially winter here in Canada where I am. So I learned this trick because I don't have any water in my shop. So now I just have these little Lysol wipes that are pre-moisturized, and I just keep them on hand so that I can wipe off any of my glue squeeze out because I don't have water. And then my plan is, when this box is empty, I'll just put shop towels in it, and then I'll just fill it up with water, and then I can reuse it. Right now it's the ones that actually has the Lysol in it, but I don't really need it. It could just be water. So there's my little trick for glue cleanup in wintertime. While the legs were drying, I got started on the chamfer for the lid and bottom using my table router. I ran the chamfer on all 4 sides on both the bottom piece, the top piece, and the lid piece. So I added my chamfer to my top, but I almost forgot that this piece I still have to cut to size. I cut it to 10 centimeter, but it has to be 10 by 10. So I'm just quickly going to chop that before proceeding with the chamfer. The final little nub I cut to size on my bandsaw. This is the piece that will go at the very top of the lantern. Next, I added a little indent for the candle using a Forstner bit. This is for the bottom of the lantern, and you want to make sure that your chamfer is going the right way when you're drilling this. Now, I sincerely hope that I don't have to remind you that this lantern is made from wood, and that using a real candle is not only a dumbass, it's an absolutely dangerous idea. So please, do me a favor, use a fake candle and leave the real candles in your trunk in case of emergency during winter driving. Next, I glued the 3 lit pieces together, but if I had to do it again, I would actually wait to do this step until after the legs are attached to the lantern. Because if you choose to use screws or nails to attach the legs, you can hide these marks by gluing the lid onto the top after attaching the legs. So yesterday I left this lantern all glued up, and today I came out and I took them out of the clamps and I just gave it a little sand to make them consistent on all sides, and now this piece looks like it was just one to begin with instead of the 2 that we glued together. And I also glued up the top, so that one is also ready to go. It just needs a quick little sand. So before we start the assembly, we have to decide how long we want this lantern. I'm gonna make it around 13. I think that's about a nice size, and that's still going to make it a nice tall one. I think if I wanted to make it even taller than that, you would have to scale the tops and the bottoms as well to kind of create that full impact. So just keep that in mind as you're creating your lantern. So I'm going to chop these up over on the miter saw and then sand this, and then we'll be ready for assembly. So we're ready to assemble everything. We have our pieces, and the easiest way to add these is to, first of all, flip it to the right direction. I almost put it on the wrong side. Obviously, you want to do it with the side where the hole is facing up, and we're going to align these right to the corner right here. And I find that the easiest way to do that is just by adding a little bit of activator and CA glue. That's gonna make it just stick, and then we can go and drill it from underneath afterwards. So I'm just gonna do that. Just be careful when you add them that you do get it right the first time, because it's quick stuff. This CA glue and activator, 3 seconds and you have a bond. Perfect, great. And then just proceed in the same way. All right, so we have all of our pieces, and now we can just dry fit it with our roof. So before you start working on the top, I would recommend that you drill in. So much for that working. Okay, we're gonna do a bit more activator on this one. Guess I didn't quite get the hold. Once your activator is actually working, flip the lantern upside down and pre-drill some holes for the screws. That is, if you choose to use screws, because you want to prevent the wood from splitting, but you can absolutely just use brad nails as well. You don't have to use screws. Because I had already glued my top together, I didn't want to use screws at the top, so I chose to glue it and clamp it. But as I mentioned earlier, if you wait to glue the top pieces together, then you can easily hide screw or nail marks with the lid after attaching the legs. So it's a good thing to wait. The last step was choosing my finish. I am using my favorite stain color on pine, which is Special Walnut by Minwax. It gives a nice rustic but warm feel. I decided to make a smaller version of the lantern as well. The process was exactly the same, except I made the legs a little shorter. And this time, before gluing the legs, I pre-drilled a bunch of holes along the 2 sides of the leg, the ones that will face another leg. And then I added a bunch of little eye hooks to these holes. This allowed me to string these cute fairy lights that I got on Amazon. I'll leave the link below. I love how the pair turned out, and I think I prefer the fairy light version, even though it takes a little longer to add the eye hooks. But at least this way, I don't have to worry about someone putting a real candle into this version. So let me know, which version do you prefer? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon in the next Wood Story.